Yesterday was Superman Day, and of course, McFarlane Toys did reveal some new DC Multiverse figures for the upcoming Superman movie, and some of these figures did go up for pre-order as well. And I want to make this video today just to share my thoughts on what I think about all these new things that just dropped yesterday. And with that said, let's dive into it. Let's start with this first photo. And right away, let's talk about the aesthetics of what I like about the Superman figure. I want to start with the costume. I like the fact that McFarlane sculpted all these details of these textures throughout the entire suit. It does give it more of a better look than leaving it just flat. And since this costume is pretty much the same color from, this top part all the way to the bottom down here, having that texture really does give it a sort of better look to it than just leaving it like a flat blue with no texture. So I like the fact that that's present. I like the fact that the sculpt lines that are visible on this costume, as you've seen in the movie trailers, is also sculpted there. So that's pretty cool to see. And the S emblem is also very interesting to look at. It is a very different take on the S emblem. It reminds me more of that recent My Adventures with Superman cartoon, where his S emblem also has like a similar shape to this. And you do have that rectangular sort of shape in the middle of the S. But nevertheless, I like the fact that it's painted in the red and the yellow, so that came out pretty good. His belt, is also the yellow belt, and there is the reds right there on each side. So, does kind of pay a little bit of a homage to that, traditional looking Superman suit in some way, but I guess modernize, as we would like to call this. So, and of course, he does have his cloth-wired cape, which is really nice to see. And ever since they started using cloth-wired capes for a lot of these figures recently, it's just been great. So, I like the fact that he has that. Now, there is two versions of this figure, and I'll get to that later in the video. As for his face sculpt, it really depends on how you want to view this. Now, for me, I think that the likeness is somewhat there. I can see a little bit of it. It's not great, but it is visible. However, this face sculpt does come off very cartoony looking, like what I wrote in my post, because, I don't know, maybe it's just me, but when I look at this face sculpt, it looks like they took inspiration from the artwork that they're using for the card or the back of the box, more than they are taking, inspiration from the actual actor's face. So it does come off looking very cartoony, and it makes me think, like, this is what this Superman will look like if he was in some sort of comic book. This is not anything close to, like, how you would sculpt a live-action face. But again, this is supposed to be a budgeted movie Superman figure, so if you want it to look close to what the actor looks like, you're going to have to go to a whole different line of figures for that. Something like Hot Toys, which is very expensive. So, if you care about the likeness so much, like you want it to be accurate, well, this is not the line for that. So, and speaking of budgeted figures, yeah, we'll talk about the price later, okay? We'll talk about that later. So, you do have Crypto in the background, so this version of the figure does include Crypto, which is really nice to see. So that's pretty cool. And Crypto does have a cloth cape. So, yeah. And the overall look of the figure is not too bad. I think it came out okay. It's not, like, the best, but it's good enough for, I guess, McFarlane Toys, when it comes to their standard. So, that's Superman. Let's go into the next photo, and we got Lex Luthor here, and I think this is the first time we've ever gotten a Lex Luthor figure in his business suit. Because the last two Lex Luthor figures that I think we've gotten in the past, he was wearing his battle armor, right? You got the comic version where he has his green suit, and then the other version that came out in the blue suit with the Superman logo on it. Yeah, so we have those two. Never like a regular version where he's just wearing his business suit. So it is nice to finally see a Lex Luthor figure in his regular suit, which is good. We've been needing more of that, honestly. You know, characters like Jim Gordon, Lois Lane. I don't even know if we're getting a Lois Lane figure from this movie at all. Hopefully we do, because we haven't gotten a Lois Lane figure from anything from this line. So, and right away, just by looking at the suit, I don't know if the suit looks exactly like this in the movie, because as you can see, the colors are basically the same from, the upper layer to the inner layer, and the only contrast here is just his tie. I wish that, this under part of his shirt had a different color, so, there is a little bit of contrast, but as you can see, there's not much contrast at all. In terms of his pants, it is nicely textured, so you do get that sort of look where it looks like real cloth, kinda, so I do like that there is texturing there. As for his face sculpt, yeah, it's not bad, but does it look like Nicholas Hoult? Well, I guess that depends on you, but for me, again, it looks very cartoony. Like, this is what Nicholas Hoult will look like if he was drawn in a comic book. That's what this comes off to me. So, but as a Lex Luthor figure alone, it's not a bad looking Lex Luthor figure. And it's one that we've been needing for our shelves when it comes to just Lex Luthor in his business suit. So finally we've gotten that version of Lex. So very happy about how this figure came out. But of course, you could probably do some minor adjustments to the way the suit looks with the colors. But if this is how it looks like in the movie, then, they got it accurate, right? So now on to Mr. Terrific. Now this one is interesting. I was hoping that they would probably do something similar to what they did with the collector edition version, where his jacket would be the soft goods material that is removable. However, I don't know if he ever takes off his jacket in the movie, because the movie isn't out yet. So if he never takes off his jacket in the movie, I guess that's probably why they went with the whole sculpted sort of look for it, because, there's no need for him to remove it. But it would have been nice if that was an option regardless, because they did it with the comic version. Why not do it with the movie version, right? I mean, that would have been cool to have that as an option. But as for the sculpted look of the jacket, it's not bad. It is the Mr. Terrific colors that we've seen before. You got the red, the white, the black. You got the fair play, on the sleeves right here. You got the words terrific on the back. So I like the fact that, it came out exactly as what, we've always seen his costume look like. He does have a hand that is sculpted with this little ball thing on it. I don't know what those are called, but, it's the stuff that he uses as his weapons. And there is some texturing with the pants down here, as you can see, and even on the back part of the jacket. Now, since we can't really see the front side because we'll have to wait for more photos in the future, does it look like the actor from the side angle? Yeah, it kind of does look like the actor a little bit from the side angle. I can see a little bit of it, right? Like he's wearing the mask, the hairstyle is similar, right? So it doesn't look bad. For a Mr. Terrific, I think it looks okay. It looks good. Like, they got the look down. We just have to see more photos in the future when the figure is, like, facing frontward. And we see that front side of the costume as well. So, but from this photo, not a bad-looking figure. And if you did miss out on the other version of Mr. Terrific, maybe you might want to consider picking up this one. That's another option right here. So, and then now, the fourth reveal that was very surprising to me. I didn't think they would make this robot into a figure, but now I think about it a little bit more. There was this moment in the first teaser trailer where he was holding the robot in his arms, like in some sort of like emotional sort of scene. That's kind of what it looks like to me. This might be that robot. So out of all these robots that work for him, this might be that special one or something. I don't know. because, they chose this one in particular, robot number 4, right, out of all the other robots that exist in the Fortress of Solitude. So it's very interesting to see that this robot got a figure. And is this an army builder sort of thing? I think it can be. It can be an army builder. I can see that being a possibility because, he does have like a couple of these robots in the fortress and they're all the same design. So if you do want to army build this, you probably can, but you just have to kind of change the numbers because they're not all the same number. This one's number 4. Some of the other ones are probably like number 1, number 2, right? It is a brand new sculpt, which is really cool to see as well. And I do like the fact that he has a claw-fired cape. So there's robot number 4, a very surprising figure. I honestly thought that this 4th reveal would be like, I thought it would be Guy or Hawkgirl, but I did not expect it would be the robot. So pretty freaking cool. And now on to one of the figures that also went up for pre-order yesterday. It is Metamorpho. And I did watch the behind the scenes video, and it is so cool to see that this character, the actor who plays him, is actually wearing an actual costume. Like, yes, parts of his powers are probably going to be CGI, but to know that, some moments when we see him is an actual costume and it's not just a guy wearing like a mocap suit and then everything is just CGI, that's really cool to see that they are making actual practical costumes for the characters. So it just shows you that it's not necessary to always use CGI for everything. Now, of course, with his powers, you have to use CGI, right? But if he's not using his powers and he's just standing there in this one frame, at least it's a real costume. So in terms of the actual sculpt to this figure, I think they nailed it, right? I love all the texture work that is present throughout his entire body, his arms, and then even down here with the legs, there's like a different thing going on here for each leg. So they nailed it. And also, this is like our first Metamorpho figure that we've ever gotten in this line. We've never gotten a comic version. This is the first one. And I'm glad they did a really good job with the sculpt work on it. Now, I know some people do not like his shorts that he's wearing. It's kind of funny because he's wearing like shorts that remind me of like a sportwear that I would sometimes wear during the summer. So it just looks so, generic looking. But I mean, yeah, you got to wear pants, right? I mean, so not bad. Not a bad looking figure. And probably one that I will pick up in the future because, not right now. Right now I'm kind of trying to save the budget here for some of the other stuff because they are jam-packing this year with a lot of new figures. And you'd think that this is a lot right here. There's more. Okay, this is just wave 1 of these movie figures. There's probably a couple more movie figures that are going to come out that they haven't even announced yet for this movie. So, and yeah, let's talk about the accessories as well. He doesn't come with anything except for 2 interchangeable hands, which is unfortunate. I was hoping that he would come with some effect parts because he does have powers, right? Like his hand can morph into something like maybe a hammer or a sharp blade, right? Like if you've seen the animated stuff that he's appeared in, he does that. So it's unfortunate that he doesn't have any of those as accessories. So that's a bummer. And especially since this figure also is costing $24.99 now because of that recent price increase with some of these figures. Yeah, not including those effect parts, not good. So if you do want to pick up this figure, I would say wait for a sale because I don't think he's going to sell out anytime soon anyways. I could be wrong, but it's just better to wait for the price to go down a little bit because you're not really getting much in this box, right? You're just getting 2 interchangeable hands. And weirdly, they're not showing the figure stands. So are these figures not even coming with the figure stands at all anymore? Like, what's happening here? So there is Metamorpho. And then now, the figure that I think they did the most laziest job to, because I need to point this out, okay? Look, the sculpt work on Kaiju, as this thing is called, which is monster in Japanese, the sculpt work is good. The texturing and everything that's present It's nice. Even the face sculpt for this monster looks really cool. But the articulation for this mega figure is lazy as hell. It is literally the same problem that I have with Titano and the Godzilla, and of course even the King Kong. Well, Godzilla hasn't come out yet, but from the photos that we've seen of the Godzilla figure for the 2-pack, right, the crossover thing with the comics, it's also lazy looking because there's not much articulation. And I don't know why they've been doing this with some of these monster mega figures. Like, when you look at King Kong and Titano, they could have easily given them like single jointed arms, right? Single jointed legs and just movement in the legs. Like, they could have done that. They've done it in the past with some of these other bigger figures. Why not do it for these? Like, look, Godzilla doesn't have much articulation. That's fine. He's dinosaur. You know, you're not going to really get him into some crazy poses, but still, that's not really excusable because these figures are not cheap, right? These are $70 2-packs. And then now we have a mega figure here that's costing, we're talking about price now, this mega figure costs $50. This is a $50 mega figure, and it barely has any articulation at all. Now, you can see that it does have like the basic arm movement where it's probably just going to swing back and forth, right? And then down here, there is this cut where he'll probably have some sort of rotation, but the legs, they don't move. There's no movement at all. And if you're going to say that, oh, his legs are, you know, kind of squatty looking, like, do you need any movement? Well, here's a good figure that has very squatty looking legs, but it still at least gave it some articulation. Clayface, the mega figure Clayface. Yeah, he doesn't have articulation in his legs where he can't, like, bend them back, but he can kick them forward because he does have a joint down there for the upper part of his legs. Okay? So they could have at least done that, right? I don't know. I don't know why they didn't do it. In terms of his hands, will they swivel? I don't know, because this photo doesn't really show... Actually, it doesn't even look like it'll swivel. Yeah, it looks like it's all pre-sculpted. So there is a lack of articulation on this figure. And will his mouth open and have like that jaw movement like some of the figures we've gotten in the past? I don't exactly know if he will. He probably won't, because they didn't show any photos of his mouth being open. So, actually, you know what? Let me correct myself. Let me double check really quickly, okay? I don't want to freaking be, like, wrong with this information. Let me go on their page. Let me go into photos. Does he have any movement in the mouth? Nope. All the photos that they show does not have any movement in his mouth. So, yeah, that's not good. So, my recommendation is that if you do want to pick up this figure because you like this monster's design, wait for a sale. Don't pay full price for this. Just don't. It's not worth it, and you're not getting value out of this at all, okay? I have a feeling that this thing will probably show up at Ross, and it's a harsh thing to say, but if it does show up at Ross, and you can get it for like $5 or $6 or something, that's even better of a deal, because it is not worth the full price. And as you can see right here in the product photo, he doesn't have any accessories at all. So, and yeah, the no figure stand thing kind of makes me worried, because I'm like, are they removing even the basic DC figure stand that we've been getting all this time? I don't know. And now let's talk about the regular version of the Superman figure. So as you can see, this figure only comes with 2 interchangeable hands, which are the flight hands. He doesn't have an extra fist hand for the left arm. And the difference between this one and the Deluxe Theatrical Edition, as I'm trying to say the name of this new subline, is his cape. As you can see, it is a pre-sculpted soft goods plastic cape. It's using soft PVC, I think. I'm pretty sure it is. It is not a claw-fired cape. It is a pre-sculpted cape that's probably going to be using soft PVC. And in this case, it sucks, because this basically forces you to buy the other version, which, what if you don't want to buy that version because it costs more in this situation, right? This figure alone is already $24.99, and it's going to be $27 with tax and everything included. And if there is a shipping cost as well, it's going to cost even more, right? So it's already not a cheap figure. by itself. And it doesn't have a claw-fired cape, which sucks. So, in this situation, you are basically being forced to buy this deluxe theatrical edition, which now we can talk about my opinion on the price point. I know that recently there have been tariffs, and a lot of the things that we buy are going up in price, right? And, the Page Puncher Wave went up by like $2-3. I don't remember how much it went up by, but I think it went up by like $2. Same thing with the McFarlane Toys digital stuff. And then, of course, the regular DC Multiverse line itself went from $22.99 to $24.99. Now, in terms of collector edition, I don't know if those will jump up because, no, they did not jump up. I think that collector edition wave we got before came out after the Page Punchers. Yeah, it came out after Page. So those didn't go up in price. But for some strange reason, I wouldn't say strange, I think they're using the tariffs. These deluxe theatrical edition figures, which starts with this Superman, is $37.99. This is a very costly figure right here. It is not a joke when I said this in the post yesterday, when I said that this entire movie wave might be very costly, because the reason why I make this assumption is because this Superman is the first one, right? He's $37.99. And we already know that this Lex Luthor is also going to be released as a theatrical edition because of the leaked photo, right? We saw what it looks like in the package, and this has the same text on the side. So if the Superman figure is $37, then the Lex Luthor is probably going to be $37 as well. And then maybe even Mr. Terrific, if he's released the same way, he's also going to be $37. Even this freaking robot, right? So depending on how these two other figures are going to be released, they could be treated as this sort of deluxe theatrical edition, and they're going to charge you $37 per figure. That isn't cheap. With tax, that's like $40 right there, right? And with the shipping cost, depending on where you pre-order these figures, that's another factor as well. So these are not cheap figures. These are getting very costly, and I don't know how they jumped up by $8. I don't. Now, look, I'm not an expert with economic stuff. Maybe it is the tariffs that they just upcharged it by $8 more. But the fact that collector edition didn't go up yet, or they didn't decide to price it up any higher because it's already $30 for one of those figures, how are these $8 more than those? I honestly thought that this whole deluxe theatrical edition was just basically collector edition, but it's only for live action figures, and it would just cost $30. But it seems that this has proven me wrong, because they don't cost $30. They're now basically $40 figures. The same price as a Mega Fig. These are costly. And I know this Superman figure sold out. Okay, I can understand why. I actually wanted to pre-order this Superman figure yesterday. I felt like, I do want something from this movie, but I just couldn't do it because with everything, with the shipping and even the MTS 10, the discount that I used, it came out to $44. I just couldn't do it. I was like, man, I need to save this budget for like a figure that I truly want, like something that I need for my shelf. And I know that I'll probably have like another opportunity for the Superman figure in the future. I hope so. Like for example, like Hawk Girl, she's coming out during the summer period, and if she costs like the same price as the usual collector edition figure, well, guess what? That's like $36 right there. So, yeah, in this case, I was like, no, I can't do it. And also, just look at it. It doesn't come with much in the box, too. I didn't even point that out. Let's point that out. He comes with 3 faceplates. He only comes with 2 hands that we see from the regular version. He doesn't even include a fist hand for his left arm, so that sucks. And of course, he does come with crypto, but I mean, that's all you're getting in this box for $44. That is not cheap, man. Like, am I sounding negative here? I guess I am to some people, but I'm trying to be reasonable here. I mean, like, you're going to be spending $40 for a figure that you know isn't worth that price, right? And it doesn't come with much. Now, I know a while back people were, also complaining about the Spider-Man figure, and it's the same argument, right? That Spider-Man figure, yeah, it comes with more accessories than the Superman figure, but is that thing worth $50? Hell no. No, it's not worth $50, okay? So, it's the same thing with the Superman figure. Is the Superman figure, as I'm trying to speak here, worth paying over $40 for? No, okay? It's not. So, in this case, I just couldn't do it. I couldn't drop this kind of money for this figure because I know that it's just... And look, you can make the same argument with Hawkgirl, right? It's like, is Hawkgirl worth paying that price for? But I know Hawkgirl will sell out, and I don't have any other options. And you can say that I don't have any other options with the Superman figure too, but there's this one as well. So, there is the regular version. So if I do want this, I could probably find it in the store and get it for $27 instead of paying, on the McFarlane Toys website and get it for around $30 or something, depending on what it comes out to, because they do have that shipping cost. But yeah, in terms of the cheaper option where you lose the faceplates and everything, I just hate the fact that they also changed out the cloth wire cape. I don't like this. I don't. And if my assumption is correct that these other figures, right, the Robot and Mr. Terrific, will also be released as deluxe theatrical editions, if they do that, these are going to be very expensive figures. So I just wanted to make this video just to share my thoughts on these figures. Look, they are cool looking figures. I like the way that some of them came out. I really like the sculpting that they did to some of them. Some of them are not worth the full price. And in this case, I think the Superman figure, even this deluxe version, is not worth paying $40 for. And I'm going to stick with this opinion. And if you want to share your thoughts in the comments below on what you think about all these, do so. Feel free to. I do want to see other people's opinions on what they think about these new figures. If you think it's worth paying the full price, if you don't think it's worth paying the full price, share in the comments below. Do so. Have at it, because I don't think I'm alone in this sort of opinion here. This isn't cheap anymore, man. Can it be the tariffs? It probably is the tariffs. It probably is. So, but I don't want to get into that whole freaking topic because that's a whole different thing. I'm not good with economics. I'm not good with finances. So that's not something I want to, talk about in a video. So, that is basically my thoughts on this entire first wave of Superman figures from this movie and some of the new reveals that they did drop that didn't go up for pre-order yet. So, if you found this video enjoyable, do give it a like. If you want to subscribe to the channel for more action figure content and whatever else I do on here, you can. You don't have to. In the end of the day, I make these videos for fun. And with that said, take care, and I will see you in the next video.